What is happening, Jirani Khan?
Yeah!
We have to have a stool between us.
Oh, that's... I'll move this one away.
Okay.
There we go.
So I'm here with the man of the day, James Whitley, who put all of this together and the reason we are here today. Let's give James a round of applause.
Also, I want to invite my brother, Philippe Prosper. We have a company together. Philippe, can you stand up? It's Grandmaster LLC. We throw events and things like that.
Bonsoir,
so
Philippe.
he was the other half of the brain of this. Yeah.
Yeah. So so to speak, I'm a little punch drunk from doing all these panels today. But it's been a good day. How have you felt about the first Jirani Con?
I feel really good about the first Jirani Con and got a lot of good feedback from all these folks. I'm just extremely thankful for every artist, for every panelist, and for our very special guest, Carmen, over here.
Yeah. So we'll get into, sort of conventions and why you wanted to you basically be a founder of a convention in a little bit. But the reason why we're even here is you're an artist first.
Yes.
So do you want to tell anybody who doesn't know by now the kind of art that you do, how you got started, and what inspired you to start doing this full time?
So, like most people here, I grew up doing art. I believe that it's a combination of both nature and nurture. I come from a family of artists, and so I believe that, my art is just a gift from God. Like, I can't claim it, you know what I mean? Like, it's just clear for him. Not saying that my art is so amazing that it's just godly, but, I just feel that this is something that God has compelled me to do. As far as what inspires me, I love this stuff. I love pop culture. I love the video games. This environment is what I've been in since I was 14, and so at least specifically with the Gospel according to Nintendo, at least the initial kernel was that I love pop culture. I love gaming. I'm an artist, but also I love God. And in 2007, I gave my life to Jesus Christ, and from there, it just literally just pivoted my entire life. Where it was like, I can't just do art for myself. It's like it's a gift, so I want to be able to leverage my art to be able to share the thing that's impacted me the most. Video games are great, but it still can leave me empty. Movies are great, but it can still leave me empty. The only thing that's actually filled me up has been my faith. Yeah.
Okay. And you and I have had this discussion in about 8 cons ago.
Right.
I asked you, in inserting faith into your art, I think I asked you, did you feel as if you would be sort of excluding an audience that does not base their world around faith? Would you be sort of pigeonholing yourself into one specific audience? And, when you talk to people who want to talk about the gospel according to Nintendo, how do you, try to reach an audience who may not be Christian, who may be a-religious?
Right.
How does that translate?
For me, almost my entire life, not even thinking about spiritual things. I just, I love comics, love video games. I have the first appearance of Wolverine. Anybody want to buy it? First appearance, Wolverine, Hulk 181. Anyone? Nope.
A little bit more than $5.
A little bit more than $5, but I come from that background, and at least as far as my art, it's never intended to push anything on anybody. It's just to show. It's just a display. Because I think art has to come from a genuine place. If there was no connection between my faith and my art, I think people will be able to sense it. I've had people that are like, oh, you had me until I saw a Bible verse. That's fine. I didn't force you. I can't force anybody, but I know how God has impacted me, but also, I just care about everybody. And so if it's impacted me this much, it could impact someone else this much, especially, because I believe it's true. And that's a longer conversation, but at least the heart of it, it just comes from a place of just love. Like, someone shared this good news with me. I'm an artist. This is the only way I can eloquently express it to others. Yeah.
So why Nintendo? Why Mario? There's so many different comics and games and storylines out there that you could have used to sort of interpret your Bible verses into your art. What was it about Nintendo and Mario specifically where you thought this is the one?
Well, I remember very distinctly, 1985, my mom hit the lotto. She bought a TV and she bought a Nintendo. And I just remember playing, Super Mario Brothers to the point where I don't even know. Like my legs were numb. And so Nintendo has ingrained in my brain to a very certain extent. And so that's really the only place where my mind went. But also, the use of icons. Like, again, if you see what is a green mushroom? See? We already have a common language. What does the red mushroom do? Power you up. So again, I can take these symbols and icons that we already have a common language for and just tilt it and twist it just a little bit to illustrate a spiritual truth that you may never have thought of. So again, I saw the use of icons as a great way to illustrate truth. Again, there's hieroglyphics and things like that. This little bird means all of this. This little mushroom, at least in my context, means a lot.
So let's say in the future, months, years down the road, if you were to choose to venture out into maybe a different, not Nintendo, like let's say you decided to choose, like the Fantastic Four storyline or something like that, would you still call yourself what?
No, yeah. Well, no, honestly, that.
Would you still call it the Gospel According to Nintendo, or would you
honestly, that came from just an honest place where, like, man, God, I love you, but I'm a nerd, so make this work.
Yeah.
But I'm inspired by people like Chris Flick. The one of the reasons why, I specifically asked him is because, I want to go to original content and be able to tell the stories that I like. I love hip hop. I love rap. I love martial arts. That's why my boy Jay over here, you gotta check out is I can't remember the name now, man, but he has like a kung fu comic coming out. Excited for that. That is the direction that I'm headed. My original IP. So of course it's going to have some sort of spiritual, good, bad, like type of stuff. But again, it's not as strategic as like, oh, I'm going to do this. I'm just like, man, I'm just going to write and go that direction.
So what kind of original art are you kind of working on, or?
I want to do a graphic novel.
Okay.
I still love doing the fine arts and stuff, and I want to go into like digital art as well. And I can kind of talk about how I stay inspired. I think one of the things I prefer to have is instead of practice, have projects. And so, okay, all right, you know what? I'm going to teach myself and have a finish point. And so I want to do a graphic novel, but I don't know how to do digital art. Okay, so I'm going to work my way to a finished goal. And so that's one of the ways I stay inspired by it. Instead of just kind of practicing random, like, oh, I'm going to just draw the hand, I'm going to draw the hand on the character that I eventually want to have in my graphic novel. So you can see a clear endpoint. Yeah.
And so, like you said, about staying inspired, what kind of roadblocks have you run into so far in creating original characters and original stories?
Well, I think the biggest thing for me is setting limitations. So for the Gospel According to Nintendo, I'm only going to use kind of retro Nintendo characters and Bible verses. But having those boundaries freed me up, because I think one of the scariest things for a writer, an artist, anybody is the blank page. It's either petrifying or it's liberating. And I think one of the ways to make it liberating is by setting limits on yourself. So if you're a writer, it's like, okay, give me a genre. See, come on, moderator.
Murder mystery.
All right, you got murder mystery. Okay, now, give me an era. Give me an era of time.
Civil rights movement.
Civil rights movement. So a murder mystery and a civil rights movement. We could write that all day. Let's make the show. We just made it. So again, by setting these parameters, it helps you stay focused. So that's one of the ways I stay inspired, again, by intentionally limiting myself. Intentionally tying my hand behind my back. It's like, okay, I have to make these tools work. I got to make Nintendo work. I got to make these Bible verses work together.
So when can your fans, because you have fans now.
Do what? I don't know. I'm checking that Instagram, though.
He's being modest. When can your fans, such as myself, we first met at a con, when can we start expecting some of that original art?
I mean, hopefully sooner rather than later. I think
Okay.
I've already started writing. I've already written the first two issues. I'm gonna write the first arc. Once the first arc is solid, then I'm gonna start, concept design, drawing, and then and see how that works, in the world. If it sucks, it's okay.
Can you tell us what it's about?
I can tell a little bit about this right now. It's called Grandmaster. It's essentially like a kung fu martial arts epic, but more so not in a contemporary fashion. It's essentially kind of like in its own world, and so it's essentially I'm taking everything that I like and smashing it together. So there's the kung fu. I like motorcycles. I like like talking tigers. So there's He-Man. Like there's all sorts of things that I'm kind of putting all together and just kind of purging out my system.
So, getting into the kung fu,
Yep.
you are a martial artist, and you also do martial art as an actor.
Yep.
So do you want to tell everybody a little bit about that in case they didn't know that that's something that you also do?
Yeah, so my brother Philippe and I, we have a duo called the Hero Brothers where we do fight choreography for films and things like that. We're also actors and writers. We have a lot of stories. And so there's a couple of different ways that you can plug us in. Like, hey, we don't want you to act, but you want to choreograph our fight. Great, you can do that. If you want us to be in it, we can do that as well. And kind of going back to like one of the ways I overcome writer's block or artist block is by doing something else. Like when I was doing this series, I was also writing on a web series, and I was also acting in different stuff to the point where I didn't have time to get stuck. I would have to keep moving and bouncing. And so I guess one of my suggestions for people who are artists who feel stuck, do something else. Do something else that puts you in a different context, inspires you in a different way, that works maybe a muscle that's not as strong. It's like I don't consider myself the best writer, but by writing, at least it made me excited to go back to painting. Because I was like literally chomping at the bit. Okay, I gotta write this script, I can't wait to paint. And so, then it kind of flip-flops as far as, I'm not just staying in one mind space the whole time.
And as far as conventions go,
Yep.
at this point, I was there, I think, at your very first convention, but
Yes,
even
you were.
I don't remember when that was. When was your first convention?
That was Awesome Con of 2015. Woo! Yep. Artway Alliance. Check them out.
What was, the motivation to come here specifically?
I'm lazy.
Oh.
I'm 20 minutes away. I'm tired of driving 3 hours to a convention. No, I mean, that's... but no, actually, it's...
Laziness is one of the
Right.
best and worst reasons for everything I think everyone does.
But no, honestly, I had a great relationship with Ken Mormon and Jerry. And Jerry right there, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for this guy.
Hey.
He gave me the opportunity to show my artwork here. So I did the original artwork for the original showing of Gospel Core Nintendo here.
Oh, wow.
And so since then, I've maintained relationships and friendships with them up to the point where I just feel like God was like, okay, do this. And so 19 days later, here we go.
I think this is the fastest I've ever seen a con go from.
Nothing to something?
Yeah.
Man, only God can do that stuff.
I want to have a
Just saying.
con, and 19 days later.
Yeah.
I still kind of can't believe it. I'm very impressed.
Thank you. Thank
So,
you. Praise God. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of what else somebody else would want to know because James and I have been talking for so many years. So I kind of, I don't know everything about you, but I do
Right.
know a lot because I am a fan
Thank
of
you.
your art. So does anybody have any general feedback for James or questions for him, his art, his convention? When is your next convention?
I don't know. Should we do another GiraniCon? So hopefully soon. You know what I mean?
All right, we'll
So
see everybody back here in 2 weeks.
Philippe and I are going to go back to the lab, talk with Ken, talk with the owners, get some of your feedback, and just see how we, there's things I want to do better. So it's always a work in progress. We'll see. But this is pretty much my last convention for the year.
Oh, really?
Yep.
You're not going to do Richmond or nothing else?
No Richmond, no Baltimore Comic Con, no Anime USA, no Intervention 7. I really tapered back this year. I learned a lot last year, and so from the fruit of that comes this.
All right. Well, again, does anybody have any?
Yep. Praise the Lord.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
19 days. Yeah.
thank you, Ricky. Yeah. You're welcome. Yep. See, I got you doing it now. There you go.
So, yes, Mr. Flick with a question.
That's a great question. Like, what's the difference between running a show and being an artist? I like multitasking, so the busyness of kind of caring for people, like, oh, you got food, you got water, like that fills me up. And so I hope I was able to serve y'all in that way. But also, I like not having to sit behind my desk the whole time and having reasons to move around. Because I don't know if you've ever had a booth, your feet just be hurting unless you're sitting down. So I think I want to do both. That's why I still had a booth, even though it's kind of like our own show, because I still have the art. I think it still has its purpose. But if I could transition, I would transition to more of doing the show and maybe having a booth as opposed to just going to other people's shows.
You're nicer than me. I like being on staff and running conventions because I'm nosy.
Okay.
That's really all it is, I want to work for this convention because I want to be that person that's kind of like, I have, all the, I know
Right.
everybody spills the tea.
Well, you were the special guest, so you knew all the tea.
Yeah, I do like know what's going on. But okay, cool. And so nothing until 2018? You don't think?
Potentially. Again,
wow.
I don't. I like
that makes me sad because I go to conventions and I expect to see your friendly face.
Well, we'll see. Well, I'm trying to keep things holding close. I don't want to reveal anything that hasn't been set in stone. So,
okay.
hopefully, I would love to do this again. Hopefully, somehow expand. Maybe when it's a little bit cooler outside, something like that. I don't know yet.
Well, if anyone has anything that they want to talk to James about, either right now or when we're finished, please come visit him over here, or you can find him running around. But thank you so much.
Thank you.
I think that the community really benefits from not only the local community, but also the nerd community as a whole,
right.
Nationwide, really benefits from having these one-day shows and these smaller shows that are really showcasing local talent and local people coming together for a cause. And now you are part of that family, and it's so important.
But you reminded me of something. So we are having a silent auction. So it's for Georgetown South, which is a nonprofit right here, literally in Manassas. So check out the art. Again, all the money is going to to support these families and kids. For after-school programs and things like that. So make sure you check out the silent auction booth before that gets taken down.
All right. Well, thank you all so much for listening to James's panel right now, and thank you so much for coming out to GiraniCon. And make sure you visit with the artists and the exhibitors.
Yeah, we're going to be shutting down pretty soon, so make sure if you have any last-minute purchases, want to get some stuff signed, make sure you do that. But then, Carmen, do you have anything that you want to pitch? Is BlurCon anything?
So, I didn't get to really intro myself earlier, but I am on staff for a convention called BlurredCon, Blurred Black Nerd, but we were an inclusive con that included nerds of color, those in the LGBT community, disabled, veterans, international nerds, and it was a way for us to include all these communities that may feel disenfranchised or underrepresented in the nerd community. So we just had our first con this year, and we're actively planning for 2018. It'll be next summer, I believe, July 27th through 29th. But that's really exciting, now being a showrunner, it's really exciting interacting with the community and, finding out what's important for people. But our Twitter, Instagram, Facebook is all BlurredCon, BLERDCON. So please check us out. And that's really, and hopefully I'll be able to promote GiraniCon for the next GiraniCon.
Yeah, we'll see it. We'll see.
Well.
Is Ken Mormon in the house? Ken Mormon, the owner of Girani. I don't know if he's still here. But again, I just wanted to, let's give him a clap in spirit. Thank you, Ken, for allowing us to have this venue. And again, I wanted to thank my business partner,
Thank you,
my
Philippe.
brother, Philippe Prosper. Again, you can ask him any questions. So let's give it up for Philippe. He's not even standing. He don't care. Very thankful for him. So you want to
Any last words, Mr.
wrap it up?
Organizer?
Again, all the artists and panelists, I'm just eternally grateful for all of y'all. Thank you so much. I hope this was a great day for you. Check your emails for more updates if we're going to do this again. So thank you guys so much.